The rain fell hard against the Durasteel sheets of Coruscant, turning the glow of neon into a blur of color. The city lights, as usual, shone. However, at the base of the Jedi Temple, a different sight stood. A mass of clone troopers stood at rigid attention. The 501st Legion, the accomplished legion of clones at the head of General Anakin Skywalker. This was not a routine patrol, but something far worse. Anakin Skywalker's own men assembled in silence, their blue markings glistening in the rainwater. Behind them, 12 towering behemoths, the ATTEs, the all-terrain tactical enforcers, menacing walkers, loomed like beasts of war, their hydraulic joints groaning. One of them shifted, taking a single intimidating step forward, a step of intention, a step of signaling what was to come. Anakin Skywalker stood at their head. His hood shadowed his eyes, his jaw tight with unspoken thought. A whirl of grief and agony flowing through his head, making everything seem like a blur, yet so clear at the same time. It wasn't too long ago that he struck down Mace Windu in a fateful duel in the Senate office. Now his new master had ordered him a new task. The Jedi were traitors to the Republic, and thus all had to be hunted down and eliminated. "You were specially trained for this mission," he said, his voice carrying over the storm. The clones did not move. Not a word was uttered. The rise of this new empire that his master had planned would be silent. It wouldn't arise through spoken word. They listened intently. "You were trained on Umbara for this special task," Anakin continued, delivering his speech with lack of emotion, trying to hide his seething anger against all of the counted infractions that the Order occurred against him. "On that day, you saw through the lies of the Jedi. When you faced Krell, you saw the Jedi for what they really were," Anakin dictated, reminding himself of the events of Umbara, how he was brutally taken away from his own men for the folly of a separatist scheme. It was cruel, it was harsh, borderline unacceptable. His voice hardened as a lightning flash split the sky. "Power hungry." How could he say this? It simply wasn't true. At the very moment inside the temple walls, a young Padawan girl slept peacefully in her quarters, her breathing calm, untouched by the storm outside, undisturbed by the clones amassing outside en masse, unaware of the tragedy that was about to befall that day, that faithful night. "Merciless," Anakin continued, as a black-haired Jedi Master laughed softly as he helped his young apprentice to his feet after a sparring session. How was this merciless? This was a show of great compassion, but Anakin's hatred for the Council had started to blind him. For the loss of his Padawan, for faking his master's own death and not telling him, for not trusting him enough to give him the rank of master. It was insulting. It hurt deeply. There was a moment of doubt that flickered over his head. He didn't want to do this. He did not want to do this. But he felt he had already taken the step of no return. He struck down Windu. Would the Council even accept or even consider an apology from him? That possibility seemed so far off, so distant in his head. Ahsoka couldn't help him. She was a whole planet away, in Mandalore, fighting against Darth Maul. Obi-Wan was on Utapau, and Padme was in her apartment on Coruscant. Anakin was alone, surrounded by his own men. His own men who he cared for, fought alongside valiantly, but were now merely brainwashed soldiers at the behest of inhibitor chips. Rebellious. Anakin continued. As in a quiet shrine chamber, a woman knelt before the statue of a fallen master. Dozens of candles flickered around her as she meditated. This was the victim of a temple bombing, an incident that Anakin himself helped stop. He caught the person responsible. He caught the young Padawan, Barriss Offee, who had set up this bombing, likely as she was disillusioned by her own master, Luminara. The Jedi's strict detachment from emotions had gone on far enough. This gave another reason for Anakin to distrust the very order he called home, the very people he called family. Traitors. Elsewhere, a frightened little youngling whimpered softly, cradled against the chest of a female Jedi. How could Anakin say these things? He knew they were wrong. He knew they were wrong. But he had no choice. Palpatine was the only person he had left. If this was Sidious's desires, then he would fulfill them. But deep down it hurt. He wished deeply as he sensed this presence through the Force, he could be the little girl in the woman's arms, being whispered sweet nothings, words of comfort, anything he would have needed. But that was a far distant reality, a far cry. And as the woman held her close in her arms, as if to keep the galaxy itself at bay, Anakin's hand clenched around the hilt of his own saber as the rain poured down outside.
These dissidents cannot be allowed to interfere with my master's plan. Every single Jedi is now an enemy of the Republic. Do what must be done. Do not hesitate. Show no mercy.
For the briefest of moments, his resolve flattered again. He stared up at the temple stairs and memories surfaced, unbidden. Ahsoka, he briefly mutters. Her voice echoed through the Force from that day she left him. Her presence, her choice, her loss, his loss. He failed her that day. He failed his Padawan. No, he failed his daughter. He failed the child he never got to raise, the child that he wanted to be there for, the person he said he would never leave. And he left her. It was his fault. He failed Ahsoka that day. The Council failed Ahsoka that day. The Council failed Ahsoka that day. The Council framed her. The Council expelled her. Anakin's hatred towards the Jedi and the Order grew more and more with each passing thought. His eyes closed and his breathing trembled. When he opened his eyes, that lack of resolve had went away. His expression had once again hardened. He pushed forward, marching up the temple steps as the rain poured behind him. Boots striking in perfect unison, a march. The final march of the Republic.
A Star Wars fan audio drama with Lucasfilm quality music and special effects, exclusive to YouTube. The Fandom Agent 44 presents
Knightfall, The Last Eve of the Jedi. Written by the Phantom Agent 44, narrated by the Phantom Agent 44, The First Hour.
An elder Jedi Master awaited at the top of the stairwell, Jirok. It wasn't a pleasant evening to be left here. The rain continued to pour down and made a mess of everything. But he stood there, diligently, even as Anakin and the 501st approached. He let out a sigh. The rain came down. It wasn't a pleasant evening, but he knew what his orders were. "Where are you going, Master Windu?" Jirok had asked the stoic Jedi Master at the dawn of sunset. He had Masters Kit Fisto, Aegon Kolar, and Saesee Tiin with him. 4 Jedi Masters all gathered together. 4 of the most skilled in the entire order. It must have been serious. Windu turned to face Jirok. "Skywalker has raised concerns that the Sith Lord we've been looking for is the Chancellor." Windu had told him. Jirok couldn't help but blink. He had doubts and reservations of his own the minute Windu told him this, and they didn't leave him as he stood on the steps either. He, of course, had questioned the durations of Palpatine's stay in office in his own time, but he mostly assumed that Palpatine's popularity with the Coruscanti public had him stay for most of the war. Jirok was not an ignorant Jedi Master, though he had mostly retired from active service and rarely did battle. His long stays on Coruscant gave him deep knowledge of the Coruscanti public. The outspoken desire to end the Clone War had fallen onto him, and he was by no means deaf to it. Palpatine's popularity had seen significant decline. It was currently at its all-time low within the Senate itself. Yes, Jirok thought, Palpatine was a corrupt politician. That was for certain. But a Sith Lord? The Jedi were so close to figuring out the identity of the Sith Lord. Ever since the search for Sifo Dyas began, this enigmatic figure driving the Clone War. He knew there were theories. They had narrowed it down to someone within Palpatine's inner circle. Jirok had heard all kinds of wild rumors, gossip around the temple, ranging from one of Palpatine's royal guards to Masameda. "I'm going to the Senate office to arrest the Chancellor," Windu had told him. "If the head of office of the Galactic Republic is indeed a Sith Lord, then this war will be far from over, and the very foundation of democracy will be jeopardized." Jirok could understand the importance of this situation just from Windu's words alone. "What of Skywalker? He is the one who informed you of this, did he not?" Jirok pressed, still remaining courteous to the presence of a Jedi Grand Master. Mace Windu had stepped forward to face Jirok and looked up. "Skywalker was assigned by the High Council to report on the Chancellor for his continued stay in office," Windu had told him. "The belief that he could be a Sith Lord raises concerns and should be investigated immediately." Jirok gently nodded his head as the group headed towards the temple stairwell. "Should we perhaps not contact Yoda or Kenobi?" he asked Windu as the group of 5 walked. "Master Yoda is reinforcing the Wookiees on Kashyyyk, and Master Kenobi has tracked down General Grievous and the Separatist Council to Utapau," Saesee Tiin responded. Mace looked down slightly. "Our numbers have been spread thinly across the Outer Rim. If what young Skywalker says is true, he will have earned my undying respect." Jirok nodded and pondered for a moment. "Perhaps you wish me to accompany you?" Kit Fisto let out a hearty chuckle. "No offense, Jirok, but you aren't exactly in your prime, my old friend." Mace gave Fisto a slightly scalding glance, but softened as he turned to face Jirok as they stood at the top of the temple stairwell. "Jirok, I need you to stay here and guard the temple entrance in my absence," he said. "When the job is done, I'll send Skywalker to report to you. Then we can call a council meeting to discuss our next move. May the Force be with us all." And lo, Jirok stood, standing outside the temple as the rain pattered down. He had to admit, at least he was shielded from the rain, not being soaked like the rest of the Coruscanti public.
He noticed the sight of Anakin growing closer and closer. He was slowly ascending the temple steps. The sound of something behind him, however, was too present to be ignored by Jirok's ears. Nonetheless, he stepped forward to meet the young Jedi General. Jirok gave a courteous bow as the hooded figure of Anakin Skywalker approached, his robes wrapped around him, likely to shield himself from the rain, which was still a gentle shower. Skywalker. Jirok speaks first, giving Skywalker his full attention. I was told to await your report. Anakin felt a flash of guilt. What have I done? The words echoed through his head, words he uttered after swiftly chopping off Windu's hand. It was a choice he made, and a choice he regretted. Jirok continued to press on his line of questioning. Where is Windu and the other masters who went to arrest Palpatine? Anakin's grip on the hilt of his saber tightened. Where is Shakti? Anakin interrogated, not even answering Jirok's question. It was his personal assignment by Darth Sidious. Master Shakti knows about the clones and is aware of my grand plan, he told Skywalker not long before. The longer she lives, the more in danger our plan to establish peace, and the closer to death Padme will drift. Prove yourself, Lord Vader. Strike her down, eliminate the Jedi, and you will have taken the first step towards saving the ones you care about. As you wish, my master, Anakin responded. Jirok blinked softly, surprised by Anakin's blunt and direct line of questioning. She is in the meditation chambers, trying to connect to the Force. Jirok responds. There has been something lingering on her mind that she wishes to find. But with the dark side clouded and foggy, it will be difficult to find. The temple doors open and close as a human male Jedi Master by the name of Ionin Marsikin, with green eyes and black hair, steps forward. Anakin! He looks relieved, a young Padawan learner at his side. He gives Anakin a warm smile, having seen the Jedi General once or twice in his times in the temple. I always knew you'd be alright. What's happening? I heard the Force cry out in pain. You too were woken up from your meditation. Jirok responds, curious that this was now a reoccurring trend, as if something terrible was about to befall the galaxy. Anakin merely looks down and lowers his head. The Jedi have lodged a rebellion against the Republic, he says darkly. Master Windu attempted to murder the Chancellor in cold blood. Jirok's eyes widen in confliction, and then narrow in suspicion. This didn't sound like Windu at all, nor the other masters that accompanied him. But Anakin never really gave him a reason to doubt him before. So, while he didn't necessarily believe it, he was suspicious. Ionin masked his suspicion with a feeling of sympathy and a look of concern. He hesitates for a moment. Well, that's terrible news, General Skywalker. It certainly isn't the Jedi way to attack an unarmed man. But I'm sure we can work together to sort it out, he says, gesturing behind him. The children have been terrified. Behind him, a group of frightened younglings huddled together, their eyes wide, shuddering and letting out soft squeaks. But they are sure to calm down now that you're here. He looks to the back, noticing the group of clones and a large walker taking a step into position. Jirok had now noticed it too. The sounds he had been hearing were the sounds of the whirring of the engines of the giant mechanical behemoths. Ionin was the first to ask the question that was on all of their minds. What is with all the troopers? Ionin asks. Are they here for more protection? That could have been a possible theory Jirok himself had thought. Perhaps Anakin was preparing for deployment. Clones at the Jedi Temple was not an unusual sight. After all, the Jedi and the Republic fought side by side, shoulder to shoulder. Clones visited the Jedi Temple as frequently as Jedi visited the Republic headquarters and the Senate building. But this many of them, and the presence of tanks, was not usual. Sure, they would pass by en route to deployment or en route to boarding ships, but never in this large of numbers outside the steppes. The steppes were hallowed grounds. They were sacred. Why were they being tread upon unless a desperate measure? Anakin doesn't answer, his grip on his lightsaber tightening. Jirok finally asks, "What is going on, Skywalker?" "You have no idea." Anakin's lightsaber suddenly erupted in a bright blue flash aimed for Marsikan's head. "Skywalker, what are you doing?" Jirok ignited his saber in surprise. "Bring in the tanks! Fire at the temple walls!" Anakin shouted as the lumbering silhouettes of ATTEs approached the temple. "You heard the general. Bring the tanks into attack position. Fire!" The thundering main cannons opened up, pounding the temple walls, their anti-personnel cannons lighting a blaze, mowing down Jedi in their path. The siege had begun. Inside the temple dojo, two young Padawans are in a sparring session. A temple sentinel by the door, being overseen by a Jedi master. "Bene, your parry timing needs work." Of course it did. She was a young Padawan, after all. She was training for her opportunity to step out onto the battlefield. The irony of the war being over before her training was complete was not lost on her, nor was it on her sparring partner, Wee Marlowe. A Jedi Temple sentinel stood guard near the door, his yellow lightsaber folded onto his side, the golden hilt glistening under the trading room's lights.
"Keep up the work, Bene, and at this rate, you will be a temple sentinel in no time,"
he said with a slight laugh. A row of other training sabers were placed on the wall behind. Bene brushed a strand of her blonde hair out of her face and dusted off her brown robes. This session was thoroughly exhausting. Wei was a young boy, not much older than her. He was shorter than Bene, but she quickly learned that was little reason to underestimate him. "You have fun serving your new master," he had once said to her during an evening stroll through the temple. "One day, I'm going to become a temple guard." Bene couldn't help but smile as the thought crossed her mind. Wee's ambitions always amused her, it seemed. She returned to spar with him, giving a strike to his left side. Wee blocked. She spun the saber around, coming up and overhead, aiming for Wee's brow. "Very good, Bene," called the voice of their instructor. Jedi Master Sin Dralig stood against the row of lightsabers on the wall. He was wearing brown robes that were almost black on this occasion. Dralig was a firm but fair teacher. For being the captain of the Temple Guard, he wasn't all that obvious of a sight. Even less so for being one of the Order's most skilled duelists. Many Jedi were taught under his arm. He clutched a single green lightsaber to the side of his belt. He earned himself the nickname, the Troll. Both students he was overseeing on this occasion had promise. Bene was more patient and precise with her blows. Her defense required work, but that was, after all, what he was there for. Wee was more amusing to Dralig. His ambitions to become a temple guard seemed more fiction at the moment. Wee was easily distractible, very quick to action. It reminded Dralig of another young Padawan he once tutored. Young Skywalker was much the same way. Wee retaliated against another blow by Bene, using the Force to throw her hand up. Bene was caught by surprise, her eyes widening. Clever move from Wee that left her open. However, she still had tricks up the sleeve of her brown little robes. Wee rushed in an attempt to quickly claim victory in this sparring session. However, Bene knew this was another instance of his impatience. Bene quickly swept her left foot, sweeping under Wee's feet. She watched as her sparring partner tumbled to the ground, his saber deactivated. The temple sentinel guarding the door slowly clapped, his white armor glistening in the light.
Good way. Very good.
The sentinel said through his helmet.
Perhaps next time you will actually manage to disarm her.
The door was suddenly thrown open. A panicked Jedi Master stepped inside. A human woman with black hair. She was clutching her saber to her robes in a hurry. Master Trolloc, I'm so glad I found you. What's wrong? Zoom in. We're under attack. The clones aren't acting right. They're clone troopers. They're attacking. They're outside on the temple steps. Jarok and Marsican are out there by themselves. You gotta go help them. It is not like the clones to turn on us. We've fought alongside them for 30 years. I don't know what's going on, but they're not alone. Someone with a lightsaber is leading them. A Jedi. This raised concerns for Trolloc. Why was a Jedi attacking one of his own? Master Su, you need to calm down. You're getting overwhelmed. I will go out there and handle this myself. Bennett jumped at the opportunity to see combat for the first time. She wasn't just a mere youngling that needed protection. She was convinced she could help. Master Sin, I'm sure I can help. No, Sin Trolloc says firmly. You will stay here with the temple guard. Make sure you keep them safe. And I'm being assigned to babysitting duty. Why? The temple guard said, revealing himself to be a Padawan with the removal of his helmet. If the temple is under attack, then we should focus our priority on protecting the Padawans and the younglings. Masters who are able to fight should go and meet this Jedi firsthand. Kota! General Ram Kota's out there already. I'm sure he can help. Su Minjiao said. Master Su should keep eye on the Padawans. I'm going to security to check the temple recordings. Very well. Come on, children. Follow me, Su says, heading off into the halls with them. Back outside the temple, Anakin gives chase to Jarok up the temple stairs, continuing to exchange blows. Stop! Ionin yells, hopelessly following behind. Skywalker, The Master was quickly silenced as Anakin plunged his saber into his skull and pulled back, glaring at Marsican. Marsican's expression quickly soured as an AT-OT lumbered into position. Marsican suddenly ignited a second lightsaber and leaped with the Force, landing in the troop base, spinning his sabers in a flurry and killing all clones in sight. Accomplished veteran of the Battle of Geonosis, he plunged his sabers into the engine bay of the walker, causing it to explode right as Anakin was running up the boarding ramp. Both living through the fire, Anakin was forced to fend off each strike from Marsican while still attempting to get to his feet, finally deciding to stop Marsican using the Force. I will protect my Padawan as you protected yours, Skywalker! That name no longer has any meaning to me! And you will die where you stand! Marsican force flipped backwards away from Anakin, bisecting a clone with his saber, landing on the ground as an R1 fighter makes an attack run on him, having been marked as a priority target for his destruction of the troop carrier. Tanks have punched a hole in the temple wall. Prepare for deployment to the Jedi Temple. Yes, sir.
This is Commander Hopper to Gunship 18. We have punched a hole in the temple wall. Send your battalion down on the left side.
Yes, sir, Commander. The gunship flies towards the temple walls. The Padawan Temple Guard never made it to the security recordings. He now finds himself in front of a hologram of Lord Sidious, having been captured by clones. Oddly enough, though, he wasn't killed.
Temple Guard, I require your assistance.
The hologram of Darth Sidious appears before the Padawan Temple Guard, his helmet taken off. He had been wondering up until this point why the clones hadn't just shot him dead and get it over with. But now he understood there was something more ulterior to their motives. And you brought me all the way into this room. Why? If you wanted me dead, you should have attacked much sooner. Sidious merely chuckled.
I have no intentions to kill you. Rather, I want you to do something for me, and I can get you what you desire. Rather, I desire your assistance, Temple Guard. There is a task I need completed to destroy the Jedi and all of their corruption to the Republic.
Powwowan guard merely lifted his eyes a bit, intrigued but somewhat confused and skeptical. Your apprentice seems to be doing a good enough job already. I'm sure he can handle that side of things. There's nothing more you have to offer me, then you can shoot me now and get this over with. I'm quite frankly getting bored.
My apprentice is far younger and far less experienced for the task I need to be complete.
Sidious replied more firmly.
One day, Lord Vader will become more powerful than either of us. But that day has not yet arrived. If you wish to seek the knowledge in the temple archives...
And how did you know of my desire to find the temple archives?
My level of knowledge is entirely beyond your comprehension.
Sidious spits.
If you wish to continue living, I suggest you do not question it any further. I can give you unlimited power, but you must heed my words.
What is this task you so want me to complete, that your apprentice is apparently incapable of? The Powwowan Temple Guard asks. Sidious pulls up a hologram of a familiar figure. Jocasta Nu.
My intelligence tells me that Jocasta Nu, the temple librarian, is attempting to evacuate the archives and are planning an escape for Jedi leaving the temple. This cannot be allowed. Any Jedi that lives is a threat to establishing peace. Lord Vader has not yet proven himself worthy of this task. Jocasta Nu is a deadly opponent, one who must not be underestimated and cannot be allowed to survive. You will go to the temple archives and retrieve a holocron containing the name of every Force-sensitive child in the galaxy. We must prevent the training of new Jedi if we are to establish peace.
And if I disagree to these rather stringent terms? The Powwowan Guard asked somewhat hesitantly.
Then you will die like all of the rest of the Jedi that came before you. The choice is yours to make, but I would choose wisely.
The Temple Guard thought for a moment. He wanted a shot at revenge against Jocasta for banning him from accessing the temple library just for doing his job, because tradition was stringent with her. Temple sentinels were not worthy of the archives, despite the fact that he sought the knowledge within. The knowledge was tempting. It was pulling. He reached a decision. He looked up towards the hologram of Sidious and fell onto his knees. If it is your will, then it shall be done, my master, he replied. There was a moment of silence from Sidious, and then the horrible laughter.
Good. You shall continue the tradition of great Sith empires of old, agents of the dark side. Henceforth, you shall be known as the Grand Inquisitor. Rise and do your master's bidding. Serve your empire until your demise. Show this hologram to any Jedi you suspect of falling to the dark side.
Consider it done, my master. The hologram form of Darth Sidious disappears as the Grand Inquisitor turns to face the clones behind him.
The Emperor has provided you with special armor and equipment for this mission, sir, as well as your new commander.
A clone commander, dressed in the armor of the Coruscant Guard, stepped forward. This clone was different, not someone he had seen before. His armor was red and His helmet had markings as if stained with blood, and his visor was a dark red. He was a member of Palpatine's special personal division that was trained under the excuse to combat Sith, such as Asajj Ventress and Count Dooku.
Commander Scythe, at your service, sir.
The task my new master assigned us is not going to be anywhere near easy. The Temple Archive is heavily guarded, and entrance is heavily restricted.
Do you think they'll last in a frontal assault, sir?
No, I think it's better we keep the element of surprise. Give me an assessment of the surrounding area. We need to block off more Jedi from escaping.
I'll send in the purge units, sir. They were trained for this night their entire lives.
No, I'm afraid we'll need more than just another division of clones.
Scythe was silent, and then let out a laugh.
They aren't just any other division of clones, sir.
Inside the temple library, Jocasta Nu frantically scrambles. She knew this day was coming. She had foreseen it. Ever since the Jedi's investigation into Sifo Dyas, she held on to her hidden doubts, soft whispers. She, with all of her immense knowledge, had made a plan for evacuation. All she could rely on to complete it were the masters right near her. An Aline, Jedi Master, wearing a rig of 4 robotic arms and carrying a saber staff, stood nearby, clutching a group of frightened younglings huddled together. I knew this day was coming. I foresaw it for years. We need to get all of the archives and all of the information out of here. The Jedi will only survive if we can pass down our teachings and our knowledge.
We don't stand a chance against the soldiers we fought alongside for years.
The Jedi Master, Kazdan Paratus, spoke up.
If what you foresaw is coming true, then not even the younglings will survive. I, for one, still can't believe we are letting the temple fall to this Sith trash.
This day is over, Kazdan, Jocasta replied solemnly. We cannot fight them. Not against that many.
We should know our own men better than anything.
Kazdan responded somewhat sourly.
We should strike down the menace of the Sith at their source. I told you, the clones were not to be trusted. But no one listened to me. No one ever does.
Every master knew that Kazdan Paratus preferred droids to people. He was part of a Jedi technical division that was responsible for studying separatist machinery and re-engineering it on the behest of the Republic. He rarely saw a battle. The one time he did fight, he managed to best General Grievous. His final statement to Jocasta was again another summary of what everyone else also knew him for, his lack of confidence. His small size as an Aline made him very cowardly and afraid. He built his rig of 4 robotic arms for a confidence boost. However, cowardice is not the Jedi way. Kazdan had mostly retired from active service, staying at the temple, assisting younglings with their trials, and also safeguarding them in times such as this. Kazdan, I need you to take the younglings down through the catacombs. Get the young and the children who can't defend themselves out of the temple. Rendezvous with Kelleran Beck. He has some friends from Naboo. He's going to take them off-world. Kazdan grips his saber staff, tightening the hilt in his little hand.
I promise you, I will defend the children with my dying breath. I will slaughter every one of those organic abominations that finds themselves in my path. And if I find the Sith apprentice responsible for tonight, no amount of will from the Force will save him from the damnation I'll condemn him to.
The door slides open as a temple guard enters. I am here to assist with matters. Jocasta's eyes narrow. You were not granted clearance to enter the archives, she responds. The temple guard merely steps forward. I'm afraid we can hang protocol. Times are now desperate. I need to see the archives, merely so I can help defend the temple. What section do you wish to see? Jocasta asks, her eyebrows raising. Her power with the Force was strong, and she could already sense something was not right about this situation. I want clearance to the holocron vault. The temple guard speaks up, merely so we can evacuate the holocrons. After all, there is knowledge on them that is quite confidential. We would not want it to fall into enemy hands, now would we? One of Kasdan's robotic arms lifts up, placed on the guard's chest.
You were not granted clearance to enter the holocron vault.
Kasdan speaks up.
You may be concerned with our over-reliance on tradition, but I assure you, this is to keep the children safe. And I can always smell a Sith trap. You are not alone in admitting the Jedi's faults. I know more than anyone what it feels like to be looked down upon for being different. But if the rest of the night plays out with this sentiment, us arguing back and forth about code and tradition, morals, we are all going to die.
Is that what this is about? The Grand Inquisitor asks, his eyes narrowing. Or perhaps this is about hogging the knowledge to yourself, he exclaims, igniting its saber with a scream, it bleeding red from yellow instantly. The children squeak and gasp, huddling back against the wall. Kasdan scuttles over to the children and stands in front of them, holding his saber staff in front of him.
Take one step closer, and I'm going to enjoy every slash I deliver to your throat,
he says. Then I have a message for you and every single child here. There are some things far more frightening than death. Jocasta ignites her saber as the Grand Inquisitor leaps forward. The duel over the fate of every single Force-sensitive child in the galaxy begins. Kasdan scuttles out of the room, younglings in tow.
Children, let's get out of here.
He is only met by a hall full of clones and E-Web turrets sitting on the balcony, firing volleys at the kids and Kasdan alike. We and Vene run out of the room, following Su Zhao.
Come on, children! This way! Hurry!
They run as the clones start firing down the hall.
Coming, Master! Coming right away!
Su pauses to deflect several blaster bolts to give the children cover as they continue to run. However, the floor suddenly caves from beneath them, causing them to fall.
Padawans!
She yells in panic. Jocasta and the Grand Inquisitor's duel in the library continues in earnest. Jocasta twirls her saber as she jumps onto a table. The Grand Inquisitor follows. Do you really think you can beat me? You are old and tired.
With age comes lessons you've yet to learn.
Jocasta suddenly force throws the Grand Inquisitor upward, crashing into the balcony above. He gets to his feet and continues the fight on the 3rd floor. Bene and we come running into the room on the 1st floor, staring up to see the duel progressing on the 3rd floor above.
Come on, we have to go help them!
Bene shouts, running.
Wait for me!
Jocasta and the Inquisitor find themselves pushing through a bookshelf. Rows upon rows of artifacts breaking and falling, bookshelves being destroyed as they enter a saber lock. We move back to the lower levels as Bene and we find themselves walking on the lower floor. Suddenly confronted by a clone trooper wearing black armor and holding an electro staff. He ignites it and gives a twirl as Bene and we ignite their lightsabers. We rushes in.
Gotcha now, kiddies.
Scythe says, firing at Bene from a distance. Manages to block the shots.
We can't keep fighting them forever,
Bene yells.
Come on, I'm about to win!
He yells back. Suddenly the wall explodes as clones begin to storm in. Bene grabs Marlowe's shoulder as she tugs him through the hole.
Nice going, Slick. You let them get away. Oh, they're not getting away forever.
An ATRT dropped by a gunship suddenly activates.
Enjoy the hunt!
The clone on the walker storms after the children, firing shots at them through the hall.
What are we going to do now?
Wee yells.
We keep running!
Benna calls back.
Then what?
We find a place to hide. Quickly, follow me.
Kasdan stares down the hall ahead of him as the E-Web continues to open fire. Kasdan's eyes narrow as he draws his saber staff.
Children, take cover!
It's too fast!
The children squeak as they look up at him.
Master Poetus.
Stay behind me, children! Anywhere is safer than here to wait while Kelleran takes his damn time getting here! It's a miracle of the Force you're even still alive! We're going to the High Council Tower! We'll wait there until Kelleran arrives!
Master Poetus.
A youngling walks over to a little terminal in the side of the temple in one of the rooms. A holocommunicator.
Thank the Force, the holocommunicator!
Kasdan scuttles into the room. He plunges one of his arms into the socket and activates it. The hologram of a Jedi general wearing armor appears. He had white hair and scars on his face.
I received Jocasta's distress signal, and I'm on my way there now. Are you already on Coruscant, General Coda?
Kasdan Paratus asks.
The Sith apprentice is on the temple doorstep, and the librarian has been engaged by one of our own. We need reinforcements desperately. The clones I've been warning people about for years turned on us. Not even the younglings are safe. I've kept my group alive without a single casualty, but I don't know how much longer that will be the case. They've already entered the temple on the left-hand side on the 3rd story. They're trying to form a pincer with the ones coming in from the front gate. They're trying to cut us off. It's a flanking maneuver, and a damn effective one at that. May the Force help any child caught behind. Did you see the direction they were heading?
Coda asks.
Whoever planned this assault planned it to perfection.
Kasdan says,
They've blacked us out. Every single communication has been jammed, and the databases have been blocked. I'm only able to talk to you through my own handmade bypass, but even then I won't last forever. They'll figure out a way to change the code again. It's only a matter of time. Shakti is relaying instructions to me through the Force. She's relaying instructions to all of us in her meditation chamber. It's hard to stay one step ahead. Coda, you need to temporarily distract the Sith apprentice at the gate, but do not fall down there. Your priority should be securing the landing pads. We won't escape if we can't access a single starfighter. Senator Bail Organa has received a transmission from Master Yoda. It appears this same thing is happening across the galaxy.
Kasdan looks down.
The Senate needs to know the truth. The truth of what happened tonight. This cannot be forgotten. This cannot be allowed to fall into legend. Whatever new order arises from the ashes of ours, they need to know it was tainted by blood.
Coda ponders for a moment.
Is there any way we can retrieve the security footage? Maybe deliver it to senators loyal to the Republic.
Kasdan ponders for a moment.
Urael Poof.
He says, his eyes widening, as if reaching an epiphany. Urael Poof had passed away years ago on an unknown heroic mission to save all of the Jedi Order. No one knew of the nature of his heroic sacrifice. It was deemed secret. Secret to all but one.
Poof died years ago, and his death remains a mystery to this day.
Coda responds, raising an eyebrow slightly.
Not to all. He passed on his knowledge to only one, his Padawan, Yenuno Tuchina. She has been granted knowledge to the one remaining part of Ural's legacy. It was placed within the deepest crevices of the Holocron Vault years ago. Ural made a single Noeticon.
Coda's eyes widened. A Noeticon, a very unusual type of holocron, a sort of force-powered computer that allowed someone to actively speak and interact with it. It was also capable of inflicting physical harm upon those who tried to tamper with it. It would indeed be the perfect vessel to protect the information from the Sith and the clones.
Opening it, I'm afraid, will be impossible. No one can pass into the chamber it resides in. Even Master Yoda tried, and he also failed. Only his Padawan ever gained access, and I have no way of being certain she's still alive. The Noeticon's knowledge is great. It'll choose individuals who are trustworthy enough to share the information to. We need to extract the security recordings and somehow inscribe them into crystals. Give them to each member that the Noeticon chooses. Unfortunately, the previous creator of data crystals, Bala Rapal, died at the hands of Cad Bane. I don't know anyone else that has the ability to make more.
I'm approaching the landing pad now. Cut the transmission. I see the Sith apprentice ahead. Tear down the gate! Anakin barks.
You'll have to get through me first, Skywalker!
Marsican yells back. Suddenly, a gunship descends down. A Jedi general jumping from it, with armed militia following. A boy? Years in hiding. And the Sith sends a boy to do his bidding? You underestimate my power, Anakin calls back. I think you're overestimating yourself, boy. But by all means, show me what you're made of. Coda draws his saber. Anakin does the same, and the two begin to duel. But Anakin quickly finds his mastery over the ferocity form is not helping him against Coda's heavy-handed strikes. Get up, boy! I was expecting more! Coda tauntingly yells, throwing Anakin off balance with his heavy-handed hits. They call you a Sith apprentice. Are you sure there's not more you have for me? Rom, Coda, and Anakin quickly spin their sabers, entering a lock. Anakin's clones were not able to help him. They were busy attacking Coda's militia. It seemed like things were not going well for Skywalker. Another ARC-170 dives towards Marsican, making another attack thrust.
Alright, here goes nothing!
He throws his saber into the sky. It's spinning rapidly, slicing through the wing of the fighter, causing it to explode, its engines rupturing. The Jedi are forced to leap out of the way as the fighter narrowly misses them. Anakin and Coda continue to exchange strikes. Marsican's Padawan watching from a nearby cover. The sliced-off wing slams into the ground nearby. Coda throws Anakin backwards with the Force and force leaps to safety, jumping back into the still hovering gunship. Marsican charges at Anakin, but Anakin freezes him in place with the Force.
Master! Run, my Padawan! Trust in the Force!
Anakin screams as he crushes the Master with the door. A clone comes running up to Anakin. The temple door has been taken down, sir. Send fighters to pursue the fleeing Padawan, Anakin orders. Yes, sir. A clone approaches. Sir, you have an incoming transmission from Lord Sidious. Anakin hesitates for a moment. He had just let a Padawan escape and lost a fight against a Jedi general. He sighs. Put him through, Anakin orders. The blue form of Darth Sidious appears in the hollow communicator in his hand.
Report on the operation, Lord Vader.
Sidious commands. Anakin stares into the hollow communicator. We have just taken down the temple doors and we are entering now. Anakin responds.
Excellent. I trust the Jedi Master guarding the gate is no more.
Jarak is dead, my master, as well as the second Jedi guarding the gate.
Victory over the old man and the young master was expected, but defeating a trained Jedi general, this is truly impressive, my young apprentice.
Sidious smiled, but Anakin hesitated for a moment. General Rom Koda escaped, my master. Sidious's smile turned to a frown near instantly.
Then I was right to withhold my trust. You have not yet proven yourself. You leave much to be desired, Lord Vader.
Anakin clenched the hilt of his saber. Sidious didn't trust him? I assure you it will not happen again, my master.
You are not ready to face Shak Ti. You need a new assignment.
Sidious responds.
My faith in your abilities has been shaken, my young apprentice. Make your way to the lower levels. Eliminate the Jedi there.
Yes, my master. Anakin shuts off the hologram, clenching his temple in anger. Back in the library, the future Grand Inquisitor confronts Jocasta Nu. I quite think this has gone on long enough, he says, holding his saber forward. The longer you continue to fight me, the more younglings and Padawans die in your absence. Do you really want that guilt to linger over you for the rest of your miserable existence?
The day may be lost, but I will not let you take the future!
I do so admire your fighting spirit. Are you ready to die?
I might ask the same question to you!
You poor old bat. Don't you see it? There is no future for the Jedi. There will be only one survivor after tonight. The dark side.
Then oh, how far you have fallen!
She was right, you know.
Who are you talking about?
The one who initiated the temple bombing. I'm just only sorry that you wanted the blast. Jocasta suddenly force pushes him back with the Force. The Grand Inquisitor gets to his feet, igniting the other end of his double-bladed saber. I think this party is quite over. Back outside the temple, Marsican's Padawan runs for the cockpit of a Jedi interceptor, hopping in as the clones start firing all around him.
Come on, we gotta get out of here!
He leaps into the cockpit of the starfighter, activating it. The Jedi interceptor lifts off as two V-wings begin to give chase, firing their blaster cannons.
Alright, don't panic, just trust in the Force,
he says as the V-wings chase him through the Coruscant skyline, banking left. They start chasing him into the commercial district.
Gotta get these guys off of me before I can even think of finding a hyperspace ring.
Diving down sharply, he pulls out of it, finding himself approaching some sort of a large shopping center. Fortunately, it was the only thing in his path. He pulls his fighter around and shoots down the glass.
I'm so sorry about this, everyone!
He flies the fighter inside. Bizarrely, the V-wings chase him in.
Okay, so this is why everyone hates the Coruscant Guard. I didn't mean for them to do this!
He exclaims, watching stray blaster bolts striking storefronts, corkscrewing up past a pair of lifts, leveling out to see a large skylight and a roof, and a dead end with a large billboard up ahead. His ammunition computer lights up, a single proton torpedo.
Thank you, Master!
He fires it at the skyline. The debris field blinds the V-wing pilots, sending them careening into the billboard ahead. Onlookers on the rooftop stare up as the Jedi interceptor docks with the hyperspace ray.
Home free at last! Thank you, Master!
Back in the temple library, the Grand Inquisitor and Jocasta Nu continue their duel over the fate of every Force-sensitive child in the galaxy. They stand in the library center, exchanging strikes. There is no future left for the Order. You died years ago, stifled by corruption, blinded by tradition.
The day will not end, so long as hope still remains.
Jocasta suddenly used the Force, throwing the Grand Inquisitor through 3 bookshelves and out the window. He tumbles down the side of the temple, being lucky enough to land back in a gunship with the 501st that was passing by. He stands up and dusts himself off.
Did you get her, sir?
No, but I'll have another chance.
Good to have you with the 501st, sir.
Pull this gunship around. Any reports from my master's apprentice?
Lord Vader has taken down the temple gate and is proceeding to engage the Jedi on the lower levels.
Then I suppose we'll have to catch up, shall we?
We have received information that Eno Cordova is taking the holocron to the West End Bridge.
So, you have an incoming transmission from Lord Sidious.
Report to him that Jocasta had already evacuated the holocron prior to my arrival.
Yes, sir. Right away, sir.
This was supposed to be a covert operation, but now we are drawing the attention of the broader